Hey there, my friends. Welcome to the Spencer Hughes podcast and adventures. Thanks a lot for being here. Earlier today, Lulu Labonte, our 19-year-old daughter who is visiting for a few days from California, Gingy, our 10-year-old daughter, and myself went on a little berry finding mission. And around here, these loganberries or blackberries, I don't even know what they are really. Everybody keeps saying it's blackberry season right now, so maybe they're just blackberries, but they have a little bit of a different shape than what I'm used to. They're a little more elongated than a typical blackberry that I'm used to anyway. So call them what you will. They're delicious berries, okay? They are all over this area in Mason County, Washington. They're growing like weeds right now. They're fun to pick. I'm a city boy at heart. I've never lived in the country before, okay? And this is my first adventure in the country, and I'm loving it, okay? And I'm taking it kind of in baby steps. But we went out because Sarah said, I'll make you guys some berry pancakes and some fresh homemade berry syrup to put on these pancakes. Sounded great. So the girls and I went out for a walk down the road and we picked berries. And it got me thinking kind of in a metaphysical way as we were collecting these berries. And the three of us were putting them in the colander as we went. And then we went down a path and my two daughters went down the path and I was shaking berries and they were just dropping in the colander, and they were some way up high, and I found a branch on the ground and I was shaking them. They were just dropping. They were so ripe and ready to be picked. It was just raining berries. And I kept looking and I thought, my God, and I'm greedy because I love these so much, and I love making smoothies with our Ninja blender. And there's only a little bit time left in the season, and then they're going to go dormant, obviously, until summer again. And the thought of not picking berries, the thought of not enjoying these berries really is weighing on me. It's taxing, okay? So I'm going to freeze a whole bunch. If we have to get a freezer for the garage just to have these berries, I will do that. But I plan to have a lot of these to last well past the summer. But I was looking at them and I thought, God, there's branches everywhere. And just when you think you've collected them all, there's more. There's more to be found. They're higher up and higher up yet. And I'm thinking, God, if I had a 12-foot ladder, I could still be picking these things. Some of them were so high up, you could be a giant and shake them into the colander. And it got me thinking about metaphysics and just abundance and the abundance of the universe, and how oftentimes we think that things are so finite, and they're not. In nature, abundance is the norm. And I remember Stuart Wilde talking about apricots, and if man were to create apricot trees, if humans were to create apricot trees, we'd have 2 or 3 apricots and a little itty bit, and you'd have to give half of it to somebody else, and Uncle Sam would take a chunk, and next thing you'd be left with was a little tiny apricot with just a little bit of hanging on to the pit, hanging on for dear life, and that's all you'd be left with, right? But in nature, the apricot tree has more apricots than you know what to do with. And I'll use that example from Stuart Wilde, giving him credit for this idea that these berries were everywhere. And then I walked another 2 feet and I looked over and I looked up and there's more berries. If I wanted to pick every berry from every bush in the area, I couldn't do it. If my daughters joined me, if my 4 sons joined me, we couldn't do it. You can't pick every berry that's hanging from a branch. You can't do it. And even if you got close to doing it, all the ones that were still green, that weren't ripe, they'd be turning red and then darker and darker, and next thing you know, they're ready to be picked. And then you start all over again. Now, the only exception, obviously, is as you get into the fall and the winter when they don't bloom and stuff, and there are no berries. But when those berries are blooming, it's not just 10 or 15 or 1,000 or 50,000 berries. There are millions of berries just on our street alone. I guarantee it, if I were to count them, there'd be millions. And that is how the universe works, my friends. There is no shortage in the universe. The universe doesn't know the term shortage. Everything is in abundance. Everything is out there in abundance. You look at a good exercise is, if you don't have berries like we do all over the place, look at the leaves on a tree. Look at the branches on a tree. Look at the birds gathering in the park. Look at the ants crawling on the ground. There's millions of them. There's abundance everywhere that we look. And the mistake we make is to separate ourselves from the rest of nature. We are a part of this whole system. And we tend to think, well, God is outside of us because we were taught that from the time we were kids. One of the most dastardly things we were ever taught by society, by our elders, maybe by our parents, by our teachers, by everybody, is that God, if we were taught about God, God is out there somewhere. God is in the church. God is in the mosque. God is in the temple. God's towards Mecca. That's why why do you have to pray towards Mecca? God's not sitting in Mecca. God's everywhere. God's in your front pocket. God's under your sofa cushions. God's in the trees. God's in everything. But we've been taught that God's out there, and the only place we can celebrate God or experience God is in church, and it has to be at 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and we have to wake all the kids up early, and we got to put them in the car, and they're all grunting and growling because they don't want to go to church. But we brainwash them into thinking they have to go to church. And I'm not going to get into the whole religion thing. I'm just telling you that we are raised to believe that God is out there. We're raised to believe that abundance is something for everything in nature except for us, I guess. Why would God treat us any less than berries hanging from a branch, hanging from these vines? Why would we be treated any less than a berry bush? Answer is we're not. We just think that we are. We think we have all these shortages, but when we look at the fact that we are a part of nature, abundance is the way of the universe, my friends. Look at the stars tonight, for God's sakes. Look at the stars. Is there a shortage of stars? There's a shortage of birds in the trees. Is there a shortage of ants crawling on the ground? Is there a shortage of, God, yellow jackets buzzing around? We had the pest guy knock out every nest in the area, and there's still an abundance of yellow jackets, even though we've knocked down all their nests. So even they come back in abundance. There is no lack in the universe. There's no lack for us either. Only the lack that we imagine, that we create for ourselves, and then we believe it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We believe in this lack, and lack materializes. We focus on lack in our lives, we get more of what we focus on. We get more lack. More lack. It's kind of an oxymoron. We get more of less because that's what we're focusing on. We're focusing on less and not more. You get what you focus on, good or bad. The universe doesn't discriminate. If you want to focus on negativity, you're going to get negativity. You want to focus on positivity, you're going to get positivity. More times than not. And if you don't believe that, then go ahead, feel rotten all day long, wake up tomorrow, stub your toe, slip in the shower, go out to your car, you'll have a flat tire, you have 20 minutes to get to work, and it takes you 45 minutes to get there. Your day's going to suck, you're going to hate the world, you're going to go through your whole day growling at everybody that comes up to you, even total strangers on the highway you'll be rude to. You'll come home, you'll yell at the kids, you'll yell at this, you'll yell at your spouse, everything's going to snowball. You'll go to bed angry, you'll forget to even have dinner, and then you'll start all over again. And we get what we focus on. We get what we focus on. There's a reason why we tell each other, have a nice day, right? When our spouse goes out the door, when our children go to school, we say, have a nice day. We don't say, you know what, have a real shitty day. Have a crappy day. I want you to slip and fall when you get to your classroom, and I want everybody in the classroom to laugh at you. And that's going to be good for you somehow. No, we don't want that for our kids. We don't want that for ourselves. We want to focus on the positive, the abundance. And it will come, my friends. It will come. I feel it coming with this podcast. I know we're going to get to 2,500 people and then beyond. I think there's going to be a time not too far in the future when I look back and say, God, why did I think it was so hard to get to 2,500? And I fight with myself all day long on this. Like, why aren't we there yet? It's coming. It's happening. If I think I'm never going to get to 2,500 people, I never will. There's people that have 20 million people on a podcast. Why can't I get 2,500? Obviously I can. I just haven't done it yet. I haven't gotten there yet, but I will. Abundance is our birthright. Don't ever forget it. Thanks, my friends.